Welcome to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast with your host, Tony Guerra. The Pharmacy Leaders Podcast is a member of the Pharmacy Podcast Network, with interviews and advice on building your professional network, brand, and a purposeful second income from students, residents, and innovative professionals.
Hey, Tony here. I just want to let you know that Mike Kasab of Kasab Consulting, he's a Drake grad, had a new job posting for patient engagement and medication-related services associates. There are part-time and full-time positions. It's remote work, and give them an email if you're interested. It's info@casehubconsulting.com, and you can find the actual post at residencyhelp.com/jobs. So that's www.residencyhelp.com/jobs.
Hey guys, it's Kristen again today, and I have Katie with me, who is a student here at Drake, and I'm going to let her have the floor and introduce herself and tell us all a fun fact about herself.
Hello everyone, my name is Katie Vollmer. I'm currently a second-year pharmacy student here at Drake University. And a fun fact about myself is that I can play the full Harry Potter medley memorized on the piano, which is 26 pages long.
Yeah, I don't have that attention span.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So today I learned about Katie, and she has traveled the world, just doing cool things, and then she actually got a new internship at Mayo. So we're going to just kind of explore both of them, see how her life is all connected and everything, which is crazy. She's awesome. So how did you really get interested in going abroad?
Yeah, so originally I actually traveled to the United Kingdom with my parents in high school for a week, and just riding the tube, hearing the British accents, going to the pub. It was so much fun, and I met a lot of really cool people there in the short span I was there. So then I knew I really wanted to study abroad for a full semester and become a student there, fully immersed with British students. And then I ended up studying abroad in Wales at Cardiff University, which is in the capital city of Wales. And a lot of people think Wales isn't a country. It is. Their flag has a dragon on it. But it's on the western border of England. And so I knew at one moment that I really wanted to study abroad, and I knew it was going to be difficult because a lot of the people I met with told me not a lot of people had done it in the past, and that I would have to figure a lot of things out on my own. But I met with a lot of mentors, and people at Drake were willing to help work with me, so I really went for it. And
Awesome.
yeah, so I knew I really wanted an international experience, and I wanted to go for as long as I could. So I actually ended up staying there for 8 months.
That's longer, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was there for 6 months for school, and then I decided to stay for an additional 2.5 just to backpack by myself throughout Eastern Europe and Northern Africa and the southern coast of Western Europe, just with people I met along the way.
Holy smokes. Was there anything you had in mind during this, or it was just kind of throw on your backpack, we're going to go see this today?
Yeah, so everything was pretty fast-paced, I'd say, because I had to take final exams. So when I was at Cardiff University, I was fully immersed in their School of Chemistry, School of Biosciences. I took a Welsh culture course, a coaching course, a history course of Russian history. Very well-rounded. But it was a lot of coursework, and that was a lot. But then once I finished all my final exams and said bye to my flatmates, I actually utilized different resources that the university had to store my luggage and stuff. And then I bought a backpack off of it was kind of like a store, a mountain store that was shutting down in town. So I got it for really cheap, and then I actually packed all my stuff in the morning. I had to turn in a paper, and I packed all my stuff in an hour, and then I was on my way to Morocco. So it was all really fast paced, but I think backpacking is a really laid back activity somewhat. I mean, you have to be very on point with transportation and making sure you have all your documents and everything. But going with the flow and being fluid in your plans is really important. So, yeah.
What was maybe one of the coolest things you saw while backpacking?
Oh, honestly, backpacking, I think, is about the people you meet. So, like, I love hiking, and I love like adrenaline activities. So I've skydived all over and cave dived and like all sorts of things, and I love doing that. And a lot of the things I've done I didn't even know existed, like gill scrambling. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Super popular activity in northern England. You put on a big wetsuit, a wool suit with wellies, which are rain boots, and you jump through waterfalls and climb up through gills in the mountains. But those things I didn't even know existed, and then I would meet people who were like, oh, my uncle has a company where you can gill scramble or do via ferrata. Do you want to do it tomorrow? So my plans were just fluid, and then through those activities, you get to meet so many people from all over the world and locals. So I was rarely with Americans my entire time I was abroad, which was really cool, and I really enjoyed it.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's so weird. That's, like, amazing just how, like, especially your ability to talk to people, too, that you're just like, oh, hey, I got this uncle. Yeah, I'm going to go tomorrow. Like, so Katie.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, I've developed a really good gut feeling as well, and, like, self-awareness when I'm traveling alone, because, I mean, also safety is really important. But I travel really cheaply, so just being really self-aware of my surroundings and what's going on is really important, too.
How about other than this, like, self-awareness, safety-wise, was there something that you, like, learned about yourself while going on these trips? Because I feel like sometimes, like, books you read about people that go on these trips, they're like, oh, I learned all this, like, internally. Was there anything that stuck out to you that you were like,
yeah, definitely. I think some of the biggest things I learned when I came back is I just didn't stress about things as much, and I think that's really cool. I mean, I'm more go with the flow now, but I'm more intentional about the things I'm doing.
I like that word, intentional.
Yeah, yeah, which is, I don't know, it's cool, and you never know what someone has experienced or what their background are until you start chatting with them and sharing stories and stuff like that. So I think along with, like, really cool critical thinking skills you learn from, like, logistically traveling alone for months on end, you know, problem solving, all sorts of things like that, you also just have I have way more perspective, and I don't take things as seriously that I used to really stress about, and that's a lot better for my mental health and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So from all your connections while you were abroad, were there any that you still keep today?
Oh, yeah. So my spring break a few weeks ago, I didn't plan a single thing, but I bought a ticket to Amsterdam on Cyber Monday. So there's a lot of...
Oh, nice.
I'm kind of a genius at budgeting this stuff now since I pay for all of it, but as a student, you know. But I just met up with friends along the way the entire time. I didn't stay anywhere other than friends' houses or flats. So I started in London, and I stayed with a friend I had met a couple years ago in Italy, who I'd met up with in New Zealand last year with a couple sisters we traveled with. And it's so fun staying with people who live there, because they're like, oh my God, we got to go to this burrito stand. I got to take you to the ice rink that Queen Victoria used to skate on, that she takes ice skating lessons at. Like, it's just really cool because her life is so different than mine growing up in the middle of London. So I stayed with her for a day. Then I took the train to Cardiff, where I got to visit with students who are studying there now, who I'd kind of mentored into studying. And then my old flatmates still all live together.
Oh, that's
and so they threw a huge party for me. And then, but things like that night they threw a party. We stayed up all night just dancing and whatever. And then my bus left at 6 a.m. to go to the airport, a cheap airport in northern London. And then I flew to Amsterdam and took a train to Zwolle, where I met up with friends I'd met in Bali last summer. And then I took the train to Deventer, where I met up with a friend I had traveled with in New Zealand. And then I took the train to Ulright, where one of my friends who's also in pharmacy school in Holland at Ulright is studying, and I stayed with his family for a few days. So I just met up with friends, and it was so fun, and I always tell them they're always welcome here if they're ever in the area, but I'm like, I don't know when you're going to come, but let me know. It's cool because I have friends all over the world, and nowadays with technology and social media and things like that, it's so easy to stay connected. So, like, I have friends in Canada who are like, please come for the holidays or this music festival. Like, we want to show you it. So it's really cool. It's hard sometimes because a lot of my best friends live in Australia, and I'm like, wow, that is very far away. And the time difference, so even FaceTiming, I'm like, they're, but yeah, so it's really cool to stay connected, and I have connections kind of all over.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So while learning, like you said, the chemistry or the biology you said biology.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any differences that you see the way they teach things versus the way we teach things here?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Cardiff University is a lot bigger than Drake. So it's, I want to say, around 40,000 students.
Oh, wow.
And it's in a city, so it's just bigger. It's a big school feel. And how their education system works, so each college, so if you're studying chemistry or biology or Welsh or whatever, you only take classes related to that major, so there's no general education aspect.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, and you only do that usually for 3 years, and then you have your degree in that specialty. So when I was I took organic chemistry and biochemistry and medical microbiology. And the chemistry courses, I was with all second-year chemistry students. So it was pretty advanced, and everyone kind of knew like how the labs worked. And in the UK, there's different vocabulary for different areas of the lab. So they call labs practicals, they call pipettes pipettes. And yeah, got made fun of a lot for that. But so it's more of a big school feel, and the lab setting is very independent. So for like organic chemistry, we had a 6-day experiment where they just gave us a big book with a lot of structures and a lot of different machinery we had to use. And so I just had to reach out to a lot of my Welsh classmates, and that was really fun because I connected with them on spring break because they're graduating this year. Because they did a gap year in Florida, actually.
Oh, nice.
A couple of them. It's just a big school feel. So the classes are bigger, the equipment's more vast, and just there's a lot of it. And a lot of the lecturers are also performing a lot of really hardcore research. Because Cardiff University is part of what's called the Russell Group, and there's 24 universities in the UK that are part of this group, and they're like devoted to premier research and like cutting edge research. So that was cool. But as an international student, it was a little difficult at first because I was spanned across 5 different colleges within the university.
They spread you thin.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
Except like how their university works is they don't usually have students who are in multiple different colleges because every student stays in their respective college because there isn't a general education aspect. So a lot of my labs overlapped with other courses, and figuring that out was a little difficult at first, but it all worked out in the end.
Is there anything like that they did that it'd be cool to start implementing here? Just like, it could be anything, but
no, yeah.
I'm just curious.
That was a huge part of studying abroad for me because I had so much coursework while I was there that was like a huge part of it, and then also like exploring the UK and traveling kind of all over Europe. But those were like 2 really big different things I experienced while I was there. But it was pretty cool. In my history course, we studied the October Revolution, which is like in Russian history. And that took place in 1917. And so when I was there, it was 2017. So it was the 100-year anniversary, but they brought in Russian professors from Russia because it was like closer. And it was just a bigger university, so they were able to bring in a lot of Russian professors, which was just cool. So I think bringing in speakers from all over would be really cool. Drake has amazing speakers.
Yeah.
But if we could bring in some international speakers or something, that could be really cool.
You heard it first here, guys. Bring in international speakers. So like you said, you got to play with all this equipment, and try different things in this experimental lab. How has that shaped your interests today?
Yeah, so it kind of started there where I was sparked. my passion for research and discovering things, and researching is really interesting because you use a lot of different skills. So obviously patience, focus, problem solving, critical thinking. It's really cool. But when I came back to Drake, I was starting pharmacy school. And so I knew I wanted to get involved in research, and Drake has amazing opportunities for research with faculty. And so I had spoke with multiple faculty, learning about their projects, and Dr. Gentry, who teaches first-year pharmacy students pharmacology. He had a really cool project on antiviral prodrugs to hopefully combat human cytomegalovirus, which is a herpes strain of virus. And I was just really interested, and I felt like we would work together well. And so I committed to doing a lot more research and put a lot of energy into it this year. And so that's definitely a way bigger interest I had because I was so sparked initially into doing that. And it's only grown and grown and grown through different presentations at like the DMU Symposium, Dukers, the NASA Iowa Space Grant Consortium Symposium. So I've been able to do a lot of research and then present it, which is so cool because I love talking with people and being able to explain things to a diverse group of people. So it's been really great this year.
That's awesome. Just curious, because I have very bad, like I get nervous public speaking. Do you at all get nervous?
I do, but I think I'm able to, like, show it. It's more excitement. It's, like, weird. Right now, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
But it comes across similarly to how it would if I was nervous. So, like, I tend to, like, shake when I'm excited and, like, talk fast. And so my first symposium that I was selected to be an oral abstract presenter was at Des Moines University. And it was with all medical students, so that were presenting as well, to an audience of PhD candidates, faculty, other healthcare professionals, and I was so nervous because I had never done anything like that, and it was my first time even presenting my abstract, so I practiced with Dr. Gentry for weeks leading up to it, but there's nothing like when you step up and have the microphone, and so after doing that, I felt a lot more comfortable because I kind of knew more what to expect and how to feel, and so then when I was selected to do other oral abstract presentations, it was a lot smoother.
Yeah.
Just because I could kind of gauge the time, the technology, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe which one was your favorite? Like, so are you presenting the same project, or have you gotten, like, roped into multiple projects that you have to present?
Yeah, so I've been presenting on primarily my project this year, which has been basically characterizing an enzyme that's involved in the mechanism of action of this new prodrug, which is called a methylene cyclopropane nucleoside analog, the third generation.
Talk about a mouthful.
Yeah, MCPNAs. But so it's been around the similar projects, so I've been able to, each time I present, I learn more about it as well and how to explain it better, I think, to a bigger group of people. So at the NASA Iowa Space Grant Consortium Symposium, I was speaking to a lot of individuals who had never heard of, like, different pharmacological vocabulary, and a lot of their research was more based on, like, astronomy or physics or tying engineering with aerospace principles, so I had a hard time understanding, even though I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But so I was able to explain it, I think, in a more simplified way that more people would understand. So I really enjoyed that symposium because I learned so much as well, and I was able to network a lot with different researchers all over Iowa.
That's almost awesome that it gave you a little introduction to, like, even when we talk to patients, sometimes we have to learn how to be like, let's not talk to, like, we're not talking to a pharmacist right now, we're talking to
medical
else.
jargon.
Yeah,
you have to think about health literacy, though, and I mean, Drake does such a good job with that, with my different IPBs, and I was just working at a free clinic all semester where that came a lot into play, but it's connected, for sure.
That's awesome. Get your little toes wet into that.
Yeah.
So now kind of, like, jumping topics a little bit, you told me how you recently are going to go to Mayo for an internship. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Yeah, so I accepted an inpatient internship at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester in Minnesota. And I did a backpacking trip over J-term to New Zealand and Australia. And before I left, I had applied to a few internships, and they had gotten back to me when I was in New Zealand. And so I knew I would have to interview when I was abroad. And so I had applied to Johns Hopkins and Mayo and a couple others. And so eventually they agreed to do a Viber or Skype interview with me.
Okay.
And the only time that worked was in the middle of the night in Australia in a hostel basement, and I had a cold and it was really hot. Didn't have a computer, but I prepared as much as I could, and I did my best during the interviews, and they were really it worked out. And so I was offered a few internships, and Mayo Clinic, I'll be working in the hospital setting, so I'm primarily working in the surgical narcotics unit. And and so I actually will be giving a presentation on drug diversion towards the middle of the internship, and that'll actually be used for technician CE, so continuing education credit across the country, after we submit it to the organization that overlooks education materials for technicians. So I'll be working on that, and then they have professional development activities, so CV review, exposure to residencies and fellowships, and then mini rotations through various areas of the hospital. So we get to rank different areas and then see where it goes from there. But it should be pretty cool. I currently work at Methodist downtown in the inpatient pharmacy, so I've been exposed to IVs and some narcotics, and so this will be pretty cool.
How'd you hear about it?
About the Mayo Clinic internship?
Yeah.
So I think Drake does a really good job of talking about different mentors, and I reached out to a few previous interns that had interned at Hopkins and Mayo and a couple associations, and that was super helpful to learn more about those internships. I know in CAPS we had an internship panel, and that caught my eye a lot with the different internships. So I did a lot of research in the summer, and then kind of narrowed down where I wanted to apply, because it's kind of a process applying to all of them. So you got to be ready to do that, and ahead of the deadlines for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, the little networking queen over here. You know your resources. So is there a part of your internship that you're most excited about, or are you just kind of like ready to roll? Because it's coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, so the first day is the Monday after finals.
Gosh,
so it'll be quick. But I actually get to live with all my co-interns. So there's 8 of us in inpatient and 4 in outpatient roles. And we all live together in 2 different houses in Rochester. So we all decided which rooms we're living in, and transportation and all that stuff. And so I'm really excited to meet the other co-interns that I'll be working with. And I'm so excited to meet the people that work there. Mayo is just ranked #1 health hospital in the world. It'll be cool.
I should know these things.
No, it'll be really cool to learn the innovative things they're doing, and I think I'm going to be really inspired throughout my time there. So I just love feeling sparked and passionate. So I'm like, yes, this is going to be great. But I'm excited to meet my co-interns for sure, because we have a group message, but it's funner to meet in person.
See their faces and actually see, because it's different behind a screen. Have any of your travels abroad and everything have shaped how you're gonna perform, as a student or anything? I know it's kind of like a really big question, but
no, that's a good question. I think all my different travels have shaped me so much into who I am today and right now. And so I think all the different skills I've learned, and that different self-awareness and those critical thinking skills, I think they've super applied to pharmacy school, and not sweating over everything and stressing.
Story of my life.
There's a lot going on all the time, and it's important to be fluid but also intentional about everything. So I think just like all the skills like even organization and keeping track of things and being able to ask questions when you don't know exactly what's going on and not being scared to be vocal about whatever you're passionate about, what you're doing is like, it's definitely carried over to pharmacy school and the different jobs I've had, and it's been really good.
And do you think, like, you've been prepared enough to, like, take all these opportunities and things? Or is there something you wish that, like, we would teach pharmacy students to help better? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
No,
it's in my head, but I don't really know how to ask it.
No, I think I know what you mean. So I think another thing with traveling, my perspectives have just gotten I've gained so many new perspectives, and I think that's something that's somewhat hard to teach in a classroom. And so I think Drake does a really good job, though, of incorporating, like, the Des Moines community and the Drake neighborhood. And so, like, a lot of those things you can learn by being here and just becoming more involved with different people in our community. And I think I've carried that back somewhat. But I think with, like, looking at different healthcare systems and all that sort of thing and different schooling and stuff abroad, that's something you can learn by going to more presentations or speakers. But if you actually take that step and really want to go and take advantage of the opportunities Drake has for international education, I think I haven't heard of a lot of people regretting doing that, just because once you gain those perspectives and hear the stories of people from Egypt or Poland or Thailand or wherever, you don't forget those things. And even talking to patients who are from all over the world, I've made connections with different patients who are from certain places just because I know different things I've seen or people I've met or things I've heard. So I think it's definitely shaped who I am, and I think Drake offers all these study abroad opportunities that people can take advantage of, and then other international education opportunities too.
I didn't even think about that, like going abroad and seeing all these places. When you have a patient from there, you can almost like instantly build this rapport. That you're like, I trust this person. They kind of know what's going on. Yeah,
it's funny. It's been really cool. It's been really cool because sometimes I'll know random things and patients are like, what? That's so cool, you know? But I mean, it's been really cool. And even random skills. Like, I was in Costco the other day picking out a pineapple, and someone next to me was like, I don't know how to pick out which pineapple. And I'm like, oh, you just pull one of the stems and smell the bottom. But I learned that in Thailand when I was taking a cooking class. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you just learn so many very, like, organized core education things, but you also learn random things from random people. So and I mean, it goes two ways as well. I mean, I'm always offering, like, different perspectives from myself that I've learned with people I've met as well. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, a little networking queen here with all these little skills.
I'm like, have you heard about the pineapple?
I imagine your little toolbox being like, this is from Poland, this is from Thailand, and then that's Katie.
Yeah.
So to wrap up everything today, just kind of what, if you could give one piece of advice, I love to end with this question, for students maybe that are listening and want to take advantage of some things that you've done, what would be your biggest, like, cheer on to them to tell them to, like, go for it kind of?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I think there's so many different advice things I could give, but I think if you really want to do something and you know you're passionate about it, I think you should go for it and just do it. And I mean, plan, but don't overthink it to the point where you are second guessing everything. Like, if you simply want to do it, because a lot of times I've found people be like, oh, I can't, or like, no one ever does that. But like, have you even tried doing it? Have you reached out to people to see if you could do it? Because a lot of the things I've done, people told me I couldn't do. And like, I'm doing fine. So I think if you want to do it, go for it. And there's always going to be people at Drake who are going to, like, believe in you to do it. So I think that's good. And then I think listen to people you meet, because people have all sorts of knowledge and perspectives. So I think I've taken that back a lot, even just from studying abroad 2 years ago. Like, just I've learned things from you today. You know what I mean? But
Interesting.
I'm more like reflective about that.
Yeah.
And I like think about what people are telling me, and I think about, I don't know, different stories they have or experiences they've had that are different from me, and I like learn from people. So I think that's like a mindset that is a really good mindset to have, especially in pharmacy school and healthcare, and at Drake.
Oh, I love that, because like I feel like nowadays just there's sometimes people are always present, but like, are you really present? Because like you can have 10 things on your mind and I like talking to you, but like, am I actually talking to you? You know?
Yes,
That's a really good point.
very good. Yeah, I think being present is so important because we only have today right now.
Yeah.
You know, and like, I don't know, I try and really, that's something I've been talking to a lot of people with too in my class is time goes so fast, especially every year in pharmacy school goes faster and faster and faster, and you're always looking at the next thing you're going to do. But like thinking about what happened today and like what did I enjoy and like what am I doing that is fulfilling what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I try and do that too.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fun.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for letting me interview you. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's so fun. We should get coffee.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Support for this episode comes from the audiobook Memorizing Pharmacology, a relaxed approach. With over 9,000 sales in the United States, United Kingdom, and Australia, it's the go-to resource to ease the pharmacology challenge. Available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon.com, in print, ebook, and audiobook. Thank you for listening to the Pharmacy Leaders Podcast with your host, Tony Guerra. Be sure to share the show with the hashtag #PharmacyLeaders.